Welcome to Party Girl Interrupted. This is a podcast where we talk about all things nightlife, reinvention, identity shifts, and everything on your way from party to purpose. So we're doing things a little differently today. We're going to try out a solo episode because one of the biggest interruptions in my story was my bipolar diagnosis. And I don't want that to get buried. Bipolar affects millions of people. I think it's like 1 out of 40 adults. But when you're going through it, it doesn't feel like that. It feels isolating. It feels really confusing. It feels very, very lonely. Like you're the only one who's going through all of that. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was around 23. There's one experience that really stayed with me. So it was the middle of winter in New York. And I just remember how freezing cold it was. And I was really hypomanic. Like I was having racing thoughts. I wasn't sleeping. I was drinking too much and just feeling completely overwhelmed and super dysregulated. But I didn't even have the words for that yet. I just remember hitting this point where I was like, I need help. I can't keep doing this in the way that I've been doing it. So I went online and I started searching for things like bipolar support, mental health, mental illness support groups. And then I found NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. They had a support group meeting in Midtown. So I remember going in on the trains, schlepping from Brooklyn into the city, feeling so nervous the whole time because I had no idea what to expect. And showed up in Midtown in this normal looking office building with fluorescent lightings, and there were a bunch of foldable chairs in a circle. And I sat down and people started introducing themselves and starting to explain whether they had bipolar 1 or 2, talking about mania, talking about depression, talking about medication, relationships, jobs, fear, guilt. And I remember sitting there realizing that these people were putting words to things that I'd never been able to. They were giving me language for everything that I was going through. And some of these stories just really broke my heart wide open. There was a man talking about struggling to keep his job and that he felt like a failure because he couldn't provide for his family because he had such manic episodes. And then there was this woman, and this one has stuck with me forever because I really resonated when she talked about how much it hurt hearing people casually say things like, oh, wow, the weather is so bipolar today. And that just made her feel so small because bipolar alluding to weather is never a good thing, right? It's always like chaos or intense or crazy. And it diminishes what it is to have this disorder and to live with it. So there were stories about relationship loss, job loss, hospitalizations. There was just so much pain in that room. And what struck me the most, though, wasn't even the sadness. It was the relief of being around people who get it, people who understand. And looking back, I'm really, really grateful because I know that I've had access to things a lot of people don't. Healthcare, therapy, medications, supportive friends and family, and not everybody has that. And I don't take that lightly because I've seen what it looks like when people don't have that kind of support. And I really, really believe that support is everything. And I remember leaving that group, walking back out into the freezing cold, still feeling overwhelmed. Nothing had really changed, but for the first time, I didn't feel as alone anymore. And that mattered more than I realized at the time. Whew. And over the years, I found it in bipolar support groups. I found it in Facebook groups, places that I didn't expect to feel anything, honestly. But there's something really powerful about those spaces because you see people at every stage. People who are struggling, people who are confused, isolated, people don't understand what their medications are, how they interact, people who are in really, really dark moments. And sometimes these posts, they'll honestly break your heart. But then you read the responses and there's so much kindness, so much honesty, so much real support from people who actually understand. And then there's a sense of community, camaraderie, like even in something that can feel so isolating, you're not navigating it alone. Because what people don't always understand about bipolar is that it's not just moods, it's how it impacts your life, it's how it impacts your relationships, your ability to function, your sense of self. There were so many moments in my life where I didn't recognize myself, and that was probably the scariest part. Like I had no idea which version of me I was gonna wake up as. And that's a really unsettling place to live. Sometimes I was moving so fast I couldn't slow down, or so low that it felt impossible to get out. And that's not something you can just snap out of. But what I've learned is how to live not constantly being as scared or fearing, like, what if I spiral again? What if I lose myself? A big part of that has been learning my own patterns. It's the things that throw me off, my triggers, lack of sleep, stress, drinking too much, like really disturbing my routine. Honestly, routine has become such a big part of that, like just having structure, because I've learned the hard way that when everything is all over the place, I start to feel all over the place too. But I think about that room, that group, sitting in that circle, hearing people say things I've never been able to put into words myself, and realizing it's not just me. That's how it changes, person by person, story by story. And in a lot of ways, that's what Party Girl Interrupted is really about. It's about the moments that stop you, the interruption, what happens after. And for me, things don't feel as out of control as they used to. If you're in it, if you are struggling or know someone that's struggling, there are places you can go. I found support through NAMI, which has a chapter in every city, and different support groups, online communities, also the Depression and Bipolar Alliance. There's so many different groups, so many online communities. There are support groups that meet in person, and I hope that that makes it feel a little less isolating. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're going through, you never have to navigate it alone. Thank you for listening to Party Girl Interrupted. If this episode resonated with you, or you know someone who might need to hear it, go ahead and share it, and send them a text, give them a hug. Let them know that whatever they're navigating, they don't have to do it alone. This is Party Girl Interrupted. I'll see you next week.